a linchpin part of the menu. And also like the tuna ham was something that didn't change for a long time. There was probably, I would say, like a good third of the menu was like signature Josh dishes.
Understood. And
then the rest of the menu occupied like what reflected more directly the seasonality of markets and what was happening.
Was he hunting at that time?
No. Okay. At that time, he was just
very much on the grind.
In the kitchen every day,
yeah.
And working on the blueprints and the plans for the Townsend space, the space where they moved to. And so that was really like, I mean, I don't know what he did outside of work. Nobody knew what he did outside of work. That was certainly, he was actively running that kitchen every day.
Yeah.
Back then. And to me, like when I came out there and I started learning about him, there was the food was incredible. You know, the level of product was something that growing up here, I just had never seen anything close to it before. That was incredible. And then his attitude towards the media and towards PR and towards this like fetishization of chefs culture that had been developing was really attractive to me as well.
Yes.
He didn't give a shit about what somebody was writing about him or about talking to people or telling his story or about this. Like, this was just a guy that like wanted to do the work, to show up and work in his kitchen every day and cook over fire, and like that's it. And I really believe that at that time that was still what that restaurant was about, you know. And that was, so that to me was like, okay, well, this is probably the next guy that's going to get 3 stars. You know, I want to be a part of that team. I want to see what this is like. If I could contribute at this place, then, you know, let's see if I can contribute at a place like this. And so I moved. I started there in like May of 2012, something like that. And you know, it was a grind, and it was super difficult. For the first like 3 months, I was staying with my buddy in Mountain View and commuting. Okay. And he
That's
did
a hell of a commute.
And market stuff for the restaurant.
So you're like, we got to go at 3 a.m.
Well, I mean, we left the house at you know 6:15.
Yeah.
To arrive at the ferry building by 7:15, you know, 7:30, so that we were going through the stalls as people were setting up.
Yes, of course.
You know, because
best move.
That's what you do.
Yep.
You know, and it was crazy. The first time that I did that, when I was on the stage, there was everybody there, everybody who like everybody that had a high end kitchen in the Bay Area that I had heard of. They were all at the market at 7:30.
Yeah,
picking through all that shit. And that was fucking cool.
It's good networking there.
It was really really cool.
Yeah.
It was like, these people are not just talking about it. Like, this is what's up, you know. So most of the time, since I was going to the market, I'd get dropped off at like 9:00 and start my stuff in the kitchen. Most of the time, the last Caltrain that left the city was at 12:05, and I pretty much almost never caught that train. You know, I might catch it once or twice a week if, like, you know, we didn't have a heavy late turn or something.
Yeah.
And if I did, then I would be like walking up the stairs to that apartment in Mountain View at 2:45.
Yes.
To like trip over myself and sleep for 3 hours and get back up and
do this
repeat
whole thing
that
again.
Same day.
Yeah.
You know. So that first 3 months was really, really tough, and a lot of times I spent staying on other people's couches that were at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Doing coke until 4 a.m. Like, you know, getting like getting some really terrible drug sleep and and going back and repeating the same day, you know. But I was really happy, you know. I was you know, I was working at a place that I had set a goal to go, and I was just couldn't be happier, like, just being there. I did like canapé station for the first couple of weeks, and then did sauce, and did that for the bulk of the bulk of the time that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was great. Learning his technique about his approach to sauces and the techniques involved with it were really eye-opening for me. 'Cause
yeah.
it was so different from classic cuisine, and what how he approached flavor was just different. And I still believe that like I have not met a better cook than Joshua Skanes at like any level ever. And I haven't done much international travel, so like it's that's but somebody that understands like flavor and how things work together, and stuff, it'd be hard for me to find somebody that rivals his just innate abilities at that,
At that level, like.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, that was incredible, and I had that meal at Meadowood that I was telling you about. That was really cool, and there was some politics stuff that was happening with the new chef de cuisine and the move over to the Townsend space. We hired this general manager that was a TFL alum that was just a buddy of the CDC that was also a Keller Group guy, and they started just changing the culture. They had a rule that we had to be clean shaven now. Our pastry chef at the time had a fucking 4-inch beard. Yeah. And he and I were like the two people that had an issue with it.
Yeah.
And then when we did that and everybody bit the bullet and started shaving, I had to put a fucking razor in my drawer to go shave at 4:45 because I would have stubble again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I got there at 8:30.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like, to me, I had this it was that period was real difficult because I thought my expectation level, and growing up and getting older and stuff, you learn a lot about what expectations mean and why they can be really harmful and how they can be useful. But my expectation was like, this is a restaurant and this is a guy who's going to get 3 stars, and he's doing it in a different way.
Yes.
This is a different restaurant. They're not just taking what's been successful in other concepts
and using it
in order to get that. We all thought that because Chef's Table at Brooklyn Fair was inside a grocery store, that we would be able to get 3 stars in that space.
Yes.
Even though you had to walk outside into a courtyard to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
That was literally what we thought the only barrier was. Because at that time, Cezanne had 2 stars, but his food was just as good, if not better, than every other 3-star in the country. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was anybody that was writing about food at that time that really would have taken issue with a statement like that. So we all thought that like it's relatively possible that here's an example of why it would be possible.
Yeah.
And so that was a big emphasis of like, how can we tighten up all of the aspects of our service and our presentation and all of that where we are right now, to just give it our best shot, and part of that was this culture shift towards the TFL model, just like how the restaurant operated, top to bottom. And I had a lot of not like outward resistance to it. I wasn't like talking shit about it or whatever, but I felt horrible about it. That it was like, this is the opposite of what I hoped this would be.
Yes.
And Rodney really wanted to start fresh in the new space, and I was like one of the last people that got let go before I moved over to Townsend.
Yeah.
And that really hurt, because like I didn't feel like I deserved that. I felt like that everybody knew my level of commitment and my level of like loyalty. Like when I took the sauce position, Josh was like, I need you for 2 years. You got to fucking tell me that you're not going to go anywhere for 2 years if I'm going to like teach you how I make food.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I know things happen the way that they happen for a reason, and I'm not going to sit here and talk shit about Rodney, but like he was like involved with one of the younger cooks that had come in, and you know that really like.
So that ultimately was like, well, if I'm going to pick someone, it's going to be
this cute Asian chick.
Yeah, of course.
Having sex with.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Exactly.
You know,
As a man,
that you're a person that doesn't see nepotism as a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know, but if you're a 26-year-old chef de cuisine at a 2 Michelin star restaurant that's been tasked to take it to 3, you know, I think that your view of what is and isn't appropriate might not be the same as somebody without that on their shoulders.
Yes,
you know
100%. 100%.
So anyway, I got let go. I had kind of seen it coming, and that was like one of the things that was causing me a lot of anxiety. And I had staged at Quince prior to that, just to check it out. So I didn't know anything about the restaurant, but somebody had mentioned it to me that I might really like it. So I ended up taking the job over there, and that was that turned out to be one of those teams that you talked about, like all the chef de parties that we ended up with 3 months or so after I started, the chef de cuisine and the sous chefs and everybody. They're the most amount of people that I still keep in touch with today.
Yeah.
Numbers wise, and some of the most successful, you know.
Yeah. You told me you listened to Nico's episode.
Yeah, Nico was on pasta when I started.
Yeah.
We still had a rice station, and so I started on rice.
Oh, cool.
I stirred risotto.
Starch guys.
For the first 3 weeks or month or something like that.
Yeah.
We had a white truffle supplement on, and so like that was, I had a crab rice and I had a white truffle rice, and you know, so like I portioned my rice for mise en place and cut like 2 onions and then went around and was like, what do you need?
Yeah, exactly.
You need 4 purees? Okay, cool. All right. And that was...
So you were busy for service.
Sometimes,
not necessarily, yeah.
I mean, sometimes you had 6 pots of rice on all at different times, and you know you'd get a kernel of rice that stuck to your wooden spatula that we went and didn't come off in the band, and you tasted it, and so you thought this rice was this rice.
Oh.
And, you know, sometimes it could get hairy, but no, it wasn't that busy. We ended up, before the menu format changed, we ended up just absorbing that into the pasta station and like making it just one rice pickup, and that was
okay.
it.
Gotcha.
You know, that just ceased being a full-time line cook's position.
Yeah,
that's kind of silly. But Quince was wonderful, man. It was I didn't know anything about Michael when I started, and Michael and Josh are really similar in that regard, that they never really like were about, hey, look at me.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
They're like, I want to be in my kitchen making food, and passing that on to my team. You know, that's where my energy is, and so I learned a lot about just Italian ingredients and pasta technique, and this like different lens of looking at products. Because in terms of like product fanaticism, those 2 guys, Josh and Michael, they can have a fist fight over it, because like they're really on the same level in terms of like what their expectation level is with.
For a while, just working at Meadowood, you hear who's at the market, you know, because we had a guy who went down to the market. Usually Charlie would be there, and he's like, he's like Skeens and Michael, the guys that are there, like the earliest.
Yeah.
Because he found out real early. You just show up at like fucking 6:30, you know, and like wait it out, you know. Now it's a lot different. It's a big like pre-order sort of situation now.